Hi everyone, my name is Stephanie and I am the host of the Modern Society podcast. And I have something new up my sleeve for this year, and it is called the Modern Sewcialites Club. And I want to tell you all about what the Modern Sewcialites Club will be and what we're going to be doing this year. So I love chatting with the people who are on my podcast. I really, really enjoy it. I have so many people in the industry come on and tell me what inspires them and how they get themselves back up after they fall, their triumphs and their downfalls, and I really love that. I love talking to everybody in the industry, but I felt this big disconnect. I wanted to know more about my listeners, and although you guys share your amazing projects online, and you also emailed me and send me DMs that just make my day, I wanted something that would really be a good project for us to do together. Now, it's not just any project. I didn't want to do just any project. I wanted to do a project where we can talk about your own story as a creative. I know that you have an amazing story. You're already doing something that takes you getting fabric and cutting it up and sewing it back together to make something really amazing. Now, if you're a garment sewist and you're like, girl, I do not quilt. Quilting is not my thing. These are really simple blocks. These are going to be blocks that you can do, and it would even be fun if you use some of the fabrics from your garments in here. So it's not just for quilters. It's not just for beginners. It's not for advanced only. It's for everyone to participate and really make a block of the month in their creative life that tells their story for 2018. So what are you going to get when you subscribe? Well, it's best to do the yearly membership because you're going to have access to everything all the time and it will never go away. So we're going to have a block of the month, and every month we'll have a different theme. So for January, it's picking the word for the year. How are you going to do that? Have you ever heard of this concept? I'm going to tell you all about it in a podcast that I have with Stephanie from the Quilters Planner. And it'll be like this every month. For every theme, I'm going to call up one of my friends and we're going to talk about whatever that theme is and how they do their own certain thing in their life. Everybody's different, and I kind of want to talk to people about how they deal with different things. It helps me too. And then we're going to make a pretty simple block for that month. Now for January, that block is about the word of the month, as I said, and I wanted to share a little story with you about how I turned my block for my word this year into something that wasn't so perfect, and you'll see that in the video when you get the instructions for the January block of the month. There's a video where Lucy, my friend, and I talk about what our words are in our blocks, and I try to show you how I cut my word out on the Cricut. Well, I'm a new Cricut user and things didn't go right, but I think that is the beautiful thing about this club. Things aren't going to go right. Your creative life is not perfect. But that doesn't mean that you should stop. That doesn't mean that it should hold you up. All of the stuff that's on social media, that's not reality for the majority of us. So I want to talk about how you make those imperfect moments in your creative life really amazing. So you'll watch the video. If you want to pause this right now and go check it out, you'll see me mess all up on camera, and I didn't edit it out because I think this is what happens when I try and do something. This is what happens when I try to get out of my comfort zone and do something a little bit different. But don't you worry, I'm going to conquer that Cricut machine. Okay, so in the video, I tell you that my word was courage, and I really love the word courage, and that is something that I really thought about for a lot of weeks, and I thought, that's my word, I know it is. And then something hit me, and I said, something's missing. It's not the word that really defines what I want to do this year. So I got online, I Googled a little bit. I mean, don't we love Google? And I said, what is another word for courage? And I just kind of put all these random ideas that were in my head on Google. Finally, grit popped up, and I thought, that's it. That is my word. It still means that I'm going to have courage this year. It just means when things don't go right, I'm not going to let that knock me down. I'm going to get right back up and I'm going to make it happen. It might not be perfect, but neither am I, and that's okay. That's totally okay. I'm still being creative. I'm still doing what I feel like is my God-given talent. So here we go. I'm going to show you my block, and I'm going to show you how I did the mess up and made it something that I can't take my eyes off of. I seriously have had it up on my design wall, and I look at it and it makes me smile every time. I showed my husband, I showed my kids, and they were all like, I love how you made that. I love it. So it's not about perfection. That's what we're going to learn this year. All right, here we go. So grit. In the video, you will see that the G, I'll show you my whole block. Can you see it? Yep. All right, so the G here was cut off by the Cricut. You can kind of see. It was totally my mistake. It's not Cricut. I love my Cricut. But I just went and got my Sulky cotton and steel threads that I love a lot. They're 50 weight. And I said, I'm going to make that thread look like the rest of the G. So I just went, I started by doing the outline, and then I just kind of filled it in. It's messy. You see, when I wash this, it's going to get all rough. I didn't zigzag around my edges. I just did a straight stitch, so this can get a little bit rough. And this started puckering a little bit, so on the back, I did put a little bit of just some lightweight interfacing. So you can kind of see here just where I did some of that thread stitching because I didn't want it to pull too much. And then with some ironing, it looks really good. It's not pulling anymore. You can't tell about that interfacing on the back. And I have this word. Not only does it look like watermelon colors for this watermelon loving girl in the South, it is the word grit. Grit is who I want to be this year. Grit. I want to have the get up, the go. Things aren't going to be perfect. I'm going to make it work, and I'm going to get the confidence that I really have lacked for the last couple of years, and I'm excited about that. So grit is my word, and I'm going to tell you a little secret of why I really just knew that this was going to be my word, because the acronym a lot used in the South is GRITS, and that means girls raised in the South, and that is totally me. But also, when you're a girl raised in the South, you love a bowl of grits. It is my specialty. I'm really good at making really good grits, and I love them with all my heart. That is one of the things that it warms me. It's my comfort food. Let's just say that. So maybe I should have had that for my recipe this month. That would have been great. So although my northern friends are like, girl, we are not doing that. I know, because I'm married to a northerner who's like, no grits for me. So anyways, I'm in love with this. I made something not so perfect. I was going to give up and scrap it into something that I can't stop looking at, into something that makes me smile. This is going to go into my quilt, and at the end of the year, I will have this quilt that will help me look at my 2018 creative journey. I cannot wait. It is going to be amazing. So that is the block of the month. You'll get the podcast where I talked to one of my friends on this, and it's Stephanie from the Quilter's Planner, and we talk about that with her. And then I also have a couple bonus podcasts, and I might put some more bonus podcasts in here. I'm not really sure. You can tell me what you want, but the two bonus podcasts I have are two of my friends, that one is Lucy and one is Beth from the Southern Mess, who also just started, it's January from my side. I know you guys remember January. It's her sister Beth, and they just started a podcast, Sweet Home Southcast. So I have them on. They're talking about what they are buying, who they are following, and what they can't live without, what they must have in their life. Now, I love to know this stuff about people. It's kind of going off the theme of my newsletter a little bit, so I just can't wait to see. It's not always going to be sewing related, but I'm going to try and mix it up and have some different people on. So it's going to probably be a lot of my socialites, because I'm going to be reaching out and seeing if any of you want to come on the podcast for a chat. Yeah. So that is one fun thing, and a recipe. I'm sharing my own recipe this month, but I do want you to know I want your recipes. Do you have a recipe that you think other modern socialites would love? Let me know what it is, and you might be featured in our recipes section for 1 month, and I will link to you and everything. I think that'll be a lot of fun. Almost like our own Modern Socialites cookbook by the time December gets here. Also, we're going to have a private Facebook group where we will be able to talk about our blocks each month. There will be prompts on there to help you really dive into what your creative story is and who you are as a creative. And we're going to really have a lot of fun. I did it private because I want us to feel like it's a safe space and it is an encouraging space. So I will promise it will be encouraging. And that's it. Now, I know you're saying, you've already set all this up. You can't change it. I can change it. And I will change it. If there's something that you want me to add, let me know. If there's something that you're thinking, girl, this isn't working, let me know. Let me know. I love your feedback. And that is the fun thing about Modern Sewcialites, is that we can change, we can grow, we can say that things don't work out. That is all okay. I'm not perfect. I think I've talked about this a lot on the podcast, but I'm going to try and make perfection not rule my life this year, and we're going to have a lot of fun. Guys, I cannot wait. I promise none of my blog of the months have this really tedious work that I have in the background. This is just too pretty. I had to put it back there. But they're going to be really pretty simple blocks. It's going to be a time for you to get out those favorite fabrics, use them, and I have a couple ways that I think you could do the block of the month. I'm going to do a scrappy version. You could do an all solids version. You could just get one fat quarter bundle and utilize that in each block. I think any of those will work. The only thing that the fat quarter bundle won't be enough for is we're going to need some low volume or white in our background. So we'll deal with that as we get closer to the end of the year and we start putting the quilt together. Now, you're saying, girl, you haven't showed us the finished quilt. You're right, I haven't. I like surprises, and I'm going to help you like surprises. So we will learn about what the quilt's going to look like as we go through the year a little bit, but I promise you I did it so you have a little bit of wiggle room in the layout of your quilt. It doesn't have to be exactly how I lay mine out, and if you want to get creative with yours and change it up, I left some room for creativity. Of course I did. That's what this year is going to be all about. So join me as I share some of my process with you, and I also share what's going on with some of my friends in the sewing community. So join us, and don't forget to tag hashtag Modern Sewcialites on Instagram so we can all follow each other and encourage each other in this special space we call sewing.